It's rocking. There. Good to see you too.
How you doing?
For the marathon we're about to run? How's it going, Mr. Good, how are you at? Not getting. That's all right, it wasn't mine. Yes. You doing some weird, that's a violation.
It's a violation? All right, we can write it down.
How you doing, buddy?
It's big. All of this is already an outline package. All the boards.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
And it's during the meeting, I give you that signal.
Okay.
No, that's not him, but one to his right, yeah. Yeah. Oh, gosh. Oh, shoot. Five minutes. Cool.
Well, I appreciate that.
Okay. I'm good with that. Oh, yeah? Bring it. Do we have to go through the actual, do I have to ask for a motion for continuance?
Yeah, the committee of all ones.
I guess I can do it.
You can do it on every single one of them if you want. He's been looking for his stuff.
Pardon?
He's been looking for his stuff. Oh, yeah, absolutely.
So I'll do it, and then Tracy.
If you want to do it, you can do it. You want to do it? No, yeah, you guys.
I'm just going to do it from the
No, I can do
president.
it.
What? So don't do it? You don't want to do it?
No, I don't. You can do it. That's what you want. Yeah, but it doesn't. All you guys have not open because I'm trying to remember to go back. So I think I'm available on that Friday. No, thank you.
Just bringing it to all of them.
Come there Friday.
Sure. Take that down and put it on the
thing. But we set aside some time for like city people. There's a lot of, various councilmen kind of making an official meeting.
Right.
But it's on
I have
Friday.
that. I can do that Friday.
Third.
I'll show it to him and have him take that down.
Yeah, that's more for the grief circle.
Okay.
So, it's like family members.
You'll have
who
a
lost loved ones,
resolution
things
coming
like
up
that.
for the East
Anybody's
Side
welcome,
Little League,
but it's
is that
not.
what it is?
Oh, okay.
That went out to California.
Oh, really? Okay. Do you know someone?
Tricia Deal.
Oh, okay. I know.
And
Rich Deal? Well, my married name's Presley. So, but I answer the book. And all kinds of, okay. And you official.
you could get a resolution. Why not? Sure.
send us
Yes.
stuff to work on it?
Yeah, that's what I said.
Have it all my stuff together.
And I will probably, would it be appropriate to do a resolution for Dave Kohler?
Yeah, we could do that. No, we can.
He and I were childhood,
Oh, were you? Oh, sorry to hear that. Yeah, I mean, that's absolutely.
How much do they give for 3 minutes?
That's all right. It just sticks on there. No big deal.
how are you?
I know you don't remember.
Huh? What's name? I'm sorry.
That was my title.
Oh my gosh! I should remember that. Part of my problem is I'm a little sleep. I'm a little sleep deprived after this 2 days.
Thank you. It was so nice to meet you. I'm glad you were
Dave Kohler?
I'm Dave Kohler. What they call him?
No, no, I knew Dave Kohler from where I grew up.
Oh, it's
Not here.
yeah.
Yep. Yep.
Okay, thank you. Okay, good. Oh, no, this is fine for him. I can make some when I get home, too. Thank you.
Grew up, yeah, she was Asian, so she's been at a lot of events. So she grew up all over
Yeah, I wasn't all pleased like I did the other day.
Joe had stuff.
Oh,
I didn't have it. You left it on the
Yeah.
top table.
okay. I was trying to figure out where it was.
I saw it.
I was like, oh, okay, I have my information, my numbers, my meeting stuff. Yes.
I didn't send it the whole thing.
Okay, I got it. All right, I'm cool. Okay, I'm good.
You got a minute.
It is not. I didn't know where my stuff was. It was all my notes from my afternoon meetings.
I don't know, it's a nice evening.
Okay, let me just settle my head down.
Okay, we let go.
Jen, you ready? All right. You all ready? Yeah. Good evening. The Monday, August 12th, 2019 Common Council meeting is now in session. Would you please rise? Our invocation tonight is by Ed Williams, Code Enforcement Officer for the City of South Bend. Mr. Williams, thank you.
May we pray? Oh Lord, as we gather together today, Lord God, we ask that you be in the midst of this meeting. Lord God, help us to make decisions that's pleasing to you. Help us be able to discuss the matters at hand and give up our own way and have our own way out the way. And Lord God, allow you to lead and guide us. Let this meeting be productive in case of all areas of our life, and help us to keep you at the forefront of our minds as we do the work that's set before us. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. I would like you to join in a moment of silence for firefighter Dave Kohler, who passed away. Thank you. Now our pledge. Pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. You may be seated. If you would, please turn your cell phones to silent. Ms. Kaufman, roll call, please.
Councilmember Preston.
Here.
Councilmember McBride.
Present.
Councilmember Broden.
Here?
Councilmember Teschka.
Here.
Councilmember Davis.
Present.
Councilmember Bordy.
Here.
Councilmember Furlick.
Here.
Vice President White.
Present.
President Scott.
Present.
9 present.
Thank you. We will not have report on subcommittee minutes. We will turn to special business. Ordinance Resolution 1946. Ms. Kaufman, would you please read?
1946, a special resolution of the Common Council of the City of South Bend, Indiana, honoring Jeff Katonah and his family for 20 years of dedicated service.
Thank you. Is there a presenter or presenters?
Yes, council members, 2 presenters, myself, Joe Broden, 4th District Common Council, address 201 West North Shore, and Councilmember Davis, and I'll...
Oliver Davis, 801 Nash Street, South Bend, Indiana, 46613, council member for the 6th District.
Thank you. Is there one more presenter?
Yes.
She'd like to introduce herself.
Hello, Tracy Skibbins, 13th floor of the County City Building, Code Enforcement.
Thank you.
So we're going to do this a little bit differently than resolutions that we've done in the past, acknowledging that Mr. Katonah was a long-time employee for the City of South Bend, and we have asked his department chair, Tracy Skibbins, to actually help with the reading of the resolution. And before we do that, though, we would also like to recognize the individuals from the department who have worked with Jeff. If you would kindly stand now.
Yeah.
And then if you'd like to join us, please come forward. And then we would also like to suggest and invite the family, if you are able, to join us as well. But you're perfectly free to sit at your seats wherever it's most convenient. So having said that, I will turn it over to Ms. Skibbins.
A special resolution of the Common Council of the City of South Bend, Indiana, honoring Jeff Katonah and his family for 20 years of dedicated service. Whereas Jeff Katonah was born and raised in South Bend and joined the City of South Bend Department of Code Enforcement in June of 1999. And whereas, through the years, Jeff remained steadfast in his devotion of improving the health and safety of all South Bend residents while also being able to adapt to an ever-changing environment in order to be responsive to the needs of the department and the city that he served. Whereas, a good sense of humor is a character strength, and this was evident in Jeff. Even during the most difficult and trying of times, Jeff was able to spark new life in what could have been a routine or difficult day by sharing his sense of humor. And whereas Jeff was able to apply his code enforcement knowledge in real-life situations and tactfully communicated decisions, even in the most difficult of conditions, while always remaining calm. And whereas the contributions made during Jeff's tenure with code enforcement cannot accurately calculate the number of people he affected over the years is immeasurable. And whereas it is an honor to recognize Jeff and his family for 20 years of service and for the dedication to making our mission, vision, and values a priority. Jeff truly created lasting relationships that will benefit the City of South Bend for years and years to come.
Now therefore it be proclaimed by the South Bend Common Council as follows. Section 1. On behalf of the citizens of the City of South Bend, Indiana, and as elected members of the South Bend Common Council, we are pleased to publicly celebrate and thank Inspector Jeff Katonah. Section 2. We extend our sincere thanks, appreciation, and gratitude to the Katonah family as we celebrate Jeff's 20 years of service. And Section 3. This resolution shall be in full force and effect from and after its adoption by the Common Council and approved by the Mayor.
And at this time, we would like to invite any family members or staff members, if they would like to come forward to the microphone, if you'd like.
Take your name and address.
Address?
My name is Suzette Katonah Schmoke. My address is 21734 Carriage Drive, South Bend, 46614. What I wanted to say is, first of all, thank you for keeping my brother for 20 years. I know anybody in a job for 20 years, they're liked, and they're probably not liked as well. And that was okay with Jeff. He understood the politics of things and loved and hated the job all in the same breath. When John Helak and brought Jeff's desk, emptied it for us, and emptied the car, I should say, which I'm a neat freak, my brother is not, and God bless John for going through the car. And he brought 2 totes of items, and I went through all the papers and all the clothes, and some things had to just go straight to the recycle bin. But Jeff had a folder in his writing, funny letters from all around. And I went through these, and I'm not going to read them all. I just wanted to just pull out just a couple that really stuck in my mind. And part of, and I don't know if this is, he had funny signs up around and in his personal belongings just to keep the moments light, because some of what he had to deal with was not light stuff. Death threats, people coming up to him, and he is so big. There was one letter a fellow wrote to him, and he said he cussed me up and down, and when it was all done, I said, "Are you done? Thank you." And I moved on. The guy didn't do anything. He went back into his house because Jeff was such a big force, 6'4" and 260. That's a good size fella. His first day on the job, he was driving with his inspector, the one who was teaching him the job, I should say, and a customer, client, I'm not sure what you call him, but someone came up to him and said, "Hey, Inspector, who's this guy?" And he said, "That's our new Inspector, Jeff." And he said, "Oh, he's going to make a good target," because he is so big. I just want to read just a couple little small things, and then I'll close. There's a fella named Bob who talks on the radio so much and is driving us nuts, and he had a petition for that to please sign. It's just a funny one. Please help sign this petition. This was back in '04, and he had 6 people sign the petition to help keep Bob off the radio. He had a list of rules apparently after some meeting, and some of the rules I'll just read. And if I can decipher his writing, that's a fun one too. God bless his supervisors. You can't go 2 times the speed limit. Don't go into other people's departments saying hi, and don't interrupt 2 people talking. Don't listen to your voicemail out loud in front of other people's meetings. Trying to get the clean ones here. They're not. They're not no sleeping in hearings. You know, that's just what you don't do. No eating in hearings, and no sleeping in meetings. No touching people in the hallway, and don't talk loud in the office. If you know Jeff, he was a very loud talker. No parking in handicapped parking spots. That one, we all know that one. No talking to children. I'm not sure why that one was on there. And no calling people before 8 a.m. Just little fun stuff that I found. And I went through these, and there were so many letters, and it gave me a huge respect for code enforcement, because these letters are so infinitesimal and trivial about just do the work. You spent more time writing this letter to code enforcement than you would just picking up your sticks in your yard. So I'm with you on that side of things. And the last thing I wanted to add was I was looking through Jeff's certificates for 20 years of here, and he had quite a bit. I'm touched that he went through all these trainings for basic training for the business, preventing workplace harassment, asbestos training, and God bless him, his inspection asbestos card just came in the mail that we saw. And they just keep going on and on. Earth Tech, asbestos building, a lot of asbestos. So he, if you didn't know, he had COPD, and it got rougher for him to come to work. And I just wanted to say thank you all for doing this for my brother. He wasn't married and he didn't have children, but he sure loved everybody he worked with. So thank you all.
Thank you. Anyone else wanted to add anything?
I have something small.
Go ahead, come.
I didn't want to take up too much time.
Yeah, you're fine.
So I wasn't in town on the day of Jeff's death. One of the hardest parts of an unexpected death is not having the opportunity to say goodbye. I talked with Jeff the day before his passing, and I'm grateful that I had the opportunity to do that. Unfortunately, I was out of the state when I heard of his passing through a mutual friend. Although I was sad that I wasn't in town, I knew that Jeff and his family would be surrounded with an outpouring of love. Sure enough, within minutes of the initial phone call making me aware of Jeff's passing, I received several more from people who wanted to let me know that Jeff no longer was with us. News spread like wildfire. The code enforcement family, Jeff's friends from high school, everyone that knew Jeff rallied together to show their love and support. One of my first conversations with Jeff was truly a unique one. It went something like this. Jeff, with a blank look on his scruffy face, walked up to me as I was trying to cross a very busy street and said, "Hey, do you know Tony Ross?" Tony, are you here? Yeah. So, do you know Tony Ross? And I'm like, well, how the heck do you answer that question? Because like Suzette said, he's like a 6'4", big guy, right? And he gave no hint as if it was going to be safe or not to say yes or no, so I cautiously said yes. He just stared at me and then went on to say, "Okay, I'll be checking on you." And then he walked away, meandered across the street. I'm like, all right. So sure enough, on my second day at work, Jeff notified me that he had checked with Tony Ross, and then apparently Tony gave me the thumbs up. So therefore, I was welcomed into the code enforcement family with open arms. That's how Jeff always was. He's a little rough around the edges, but he has a super soft and caring. He's super soft and caring on the inside. He would never complain to me about things I asked of him, such as attending a meeting, attending training, complaining to me about anything. He would always just have a smart remark to say. Always. That was Jeff's thing. And the thing about Jeff is that his remarks were truly smart. He was a crazy, smart person. And after he would share these remarks with us, Marlene and I would be like, well, yeah, that's a good idea. Why did we not think of that? You know, and it came from Jeff. So when he did have something to say, we valued that. Jeff would move heaven and earth to value our earth for his code enforcement family, and he was truly cared for by us as well. I can say that there has been a huge void since Jeff's passing. No one will ever truly fill that void that Jeff left. Our code enforcement team will always be grateful for the time that we were able to spend with Jeff, and I know that the citizens of South Bend will feel that way as well. So thank you. Thank you so much to Jeff's family and code enforcement and you all for letting us honor Jeff and his family today.
Thank you.
We're going to have some more, and they're going to share some words with you before you go.
Yeah,
I know you're tired again.
we'll have comment from council now. We'll start with the 2nd District.
I didn't have the pleasure of knowing Jeff, but certainly from all accounts, not only does he have a great sense of humor, but apparently it runs in the family. And he will certainly be missed, and I'm glad, I'm honored that I get to be a part of the council that writes him into the history books of South Bend, because it's those quiet heroes that often get missed, but we are going to remember him forever. Thank you for sharing him with us.
I echo those remarks. Well said. It is indeed an honor to, honor such a man with doing so much hard work and dedication to the city. It is a thankless job, and no doubt, a very dangerous and hazardous job as well. So I cannot even imagine all of the, irate customers or people, yelling and cursing and whatever to him. So I appreciate the department and the work that he has done over the years. So I'm glad to be a part of this day as well. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, just to the family for being here tonight, to honor Jeff and for the 20 years that he gave them to us, or at least you said that we took them from you. I'm not sure. When you're in a job for 20 years, I think it becomes bigger than a job, right? It becomes kind of part of your identity, and I didn't know Jeff, but from everything that I've heard from Tracy and from all of you tonight, I wish I would have met him. So thank you, and thanks for being here.
Mr. Brody?
Just thank you for sharing, Jeff, with the city. I guess we were all the richer for it. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for sharing, Jeff.
Ms. White?
I knew Jeff was unique and very much loved when I was entering the County City building on the day or the morning that he passed. Ed met me in the hallway. He said, I came in to pray with the code enforcement staff. So that speaks volumes, not only in terms of the staff, but the person that Jeff was. He's left a tremendous legacy, one in which each and every one of you can be proud of, and we're proud to say that he was one of our employees. So again, we're praying for you, and thank you so much for sharing him with us.
Yes, and sorry for your loss. He was an incredible person, and we appreciate the dedication. A code enforcement job is really a calling. It's one of those things that you got to do with passion, and for doing it for 20 years is just amazing. So we appreciate having him part of our city. Any other comments?
Yes, and just final comments. I'd like to specifically recognize his parents, Don and Sue, and just to extend our thanks to them. And Suzette, thank you for those wonderful remarks. I have a feeling that there's going to be some kids scrambling, nieces and nephews scrambling for that folder to look at it later. And thanks to his co-workers as well, who have been so supportive. It's very tough when things happen unexpectedly and quickly, and I am really proud of the folks who have wrapped around, both at the department level heads and the co-workers. And just know that our prayers are with you and your family, and with you staff members as well. We thank you for all of your terrific service, 365 days of the year, but especially in these trying times as well. So God bless, and thank you all.
Thank you. Mr. Davis? Just some housekeeping. We do not have an official clerk at this time. We will have original copies of the resolution signed and sent to you all once we have a clerk in place, which should be Thursday. So that official signature needs to be on this to make it official for the record. The mayor signed, this council has signed. So just want to make sure we all know that. At this point, we need to open up to the public. So anyone from the public wishing to speak in favor of 1946, please come to the podium, state your name and address.
My name is Samuel Brown. I live at 222 East Navarre Street, City of South Bend. Usually I know pretty much all code enforcement people. I make my rounds in the city. I wasn't able to come in contact with Jeff, but I'm going to just say this. That's a hard job. You got to have a lot of humor to do that job someday. Code enforcement is really tough. So I wish your family the best. I'm glad you guys got a resolution for his family. It means a lot to the family, I know. So may God bless the family, and thank you guys for doing that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else wishing to speak in favor, please come to the podium. Seeing none, anyone wishing to speak against 1946, since it's a democracy, please come to the podium. Seeing none, we'll turn it back to council.
Motion to adopt the acclamation.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Thank you so much. Thank you. Okay, we'll move on with the rest of the business. There is no report to city offices at this time. I see Laura O'Sullivan from the mayor's office is in the audience. Thank you for being here. A little more business, just if anybody's here for 7018, regarding 131 Chapin Street, that is continued to 9/23. So anything for 7018, 131 Chapin is continued to 9/23. Anyone here for 2219, the zoning regarding building permits? That is continued to 8/26, so 2 weeks from now, 8/26. And 2419, regarding mobile devices hand-free, cell use, 2419 is continued to September 23rd. So hands-free is September 23rd. And with that, I'll rise and join the committee of the whole.
Trying to get a photo with them before they leave. That's what
Oliver.
Jennifer got one.
Oh, she did?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, we got one. Oliver, we got a photo.
Motion to rise and resolve for the, I'm sorry.
Second.
Motion to join the committee as a whole. What's this?
That's good. That'll work.
Rise and
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
All in favor? Aye. All opposed?
She got one. Jennifer
We got one when they're at the podium. Yep. It's all good, Oliver.
Thank you. Thanks. Jennifer was working it. I was not. Thanks.
Thank you.
It's all right.
Committee of the whole is now in session. This is the portion of the council meeting where the full council meets as a committee. Each ordinance will be read in turn. Members of the public will have an opportunity to speak either for or against. Comments will be limited to 5 minutes. With that, will the acting clerk, please read, what number is it left?
Do we need to read it?
2519.
2519.
We don't need to read it, do we? Oh, okay.
2519, public hearing on an ordinance of the Common Council of the City of South Bend, Indiana, appropriating additional funds for certain departmental and city services operations in 2019 of $180,070 from General Fund 101.
The presenter? I'm sorry, committee report, Personnel and Finance Committee Chair.
Yes, the Personnel and Finance Committee held a committee meeting and second reading on Bill 25-19, and we sent it to the council with a favorable recommendation.
Chair? Sir, just point of order. Should we not make a motion on all the other bills to continue those? All right, I make a motion to continue 7018 to 9/23.
Second.
Motion made and seconded for that continuance. All in favor signify by saying aye.
I make a motion to send 2219, continue 2219 to 8/26.
Second.
Motion made and seconded to send that one, to continue it to 8/26. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, done.
Chair, I make a motion to send 2419, to continue that to September 23rd.
Second.
Motion made and seconded to send 2419 for public hearing on 9/23. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
So moved. Okay, please proceed.
All right. Thank you, council members. Dan Parker, City Controller, offices up on the 12th floor of this building. So what you have before you in 2519 is an additional appropriation ordinance from asking for an additional appropriation from our general fund, specifically from the mayor's office budget, to account for or to pursue a consulting engagement with a firm called 21CP. This consulting firm specializes in assessing police departments and police tactics, policies, procedures, etc., and we would like to pursue an engagement with that firm. There's a PowerPoint, and actually I'm going to invite Laura O'Sullivan up to go through the PowerPoint. Before we do that, though, I just want to emphasize that the ordinance in front of you is simply appropriating the money. So the scope of services and the amount of the appropriation, think of it similar as you would to the budget. It's the budget for what we are allowed to spend legally on this particular engagement. That doesn't mean we will spend all of it or that we will even spend any of it. It is just simply what we are budgeting for that particular engagement. Laura?
Thank you. Laura O'Sullivan, Chief of Staff, Mayor's Office. Our office is on the 14th floor of this building. So I'll just have a couple of slides here.
I cannot hear you.
Okay.
Can you put that closer?
So as Dan mentioned, this bill appropriates the fees that we would incur if we decide to take on a consultant that's Chuck Ramsey and is from 21CP. Coming out of recent events in our look at public safety, in addition to the community engagement forums that we're currently hosting, we're also looking into engaging this firm to assess the police department. Most importantly, to be looking at all of the great things that our police department does and help us amplify that, but then also look at best practices in 20th century policing and see if there are recommendations that they may make for us to pursue as well. Please press the next slide. It's not working.
It's like the down arrow.
We are currently in negotiations for the contract, and we haven't committed to anything yet. But under our conversations right now, we're looking into various different things, assessing our use of force policies, body-worn cameras, bias-free policing, accountability, more community engagement and participation, and then any other topics as identified. And like I said, we're currently in contract negotiations. We will continue to speak with the council about what the scope would look like. We've asked the FOP and the police chiefs to also be involved in the process, and we'll be happy to keep you posted as this process continues. I think that's it.
Thank you. Does that conclude the presentation? Any questions from the council?
A few years ago, we had a review of the police department, and with like $45,000, and then the question came up, the findings of all of that review, it was not as clear to the public or clear to the council what happened. When we have the assessment, how much time should we expect for their assessment to be given to the council? And then once the assessment is given to the council, will they make a presentation to the council regarding that? And then, so the public, everybody will see what the strengths of our police department have been, what the challenges of it, what's proposed to fix the challenges, and what's proposed to enhance the strengths, all of those kind of things. What's the vision regarding that?
So the engagement, if we decide to move forward, will be between 8 and 18 weeks, depending on which we decide. It could also be one report or many reports. The last consultant engagement that you're speaking of was in regards to the reorg for the police department. So it was a different scope of work. But yes, there will be community engagement, council engagement, and we will share all of those findings.
So the determination how long that would be and all those dates right now are too preliminary, correct?
Correct.
Okay, this is just to fund that process, and do you come back with us?
Correct. We'll keep you updated as it goes along.
Last thing, just for the public again, since this is being appropriated potentially in 2019, then the action of this will be not waiting on the budget of 220. This will commence immediately.
Exactly, which is exactly why we're doing it before we even have a signed contract, so that as soon as we get to the point of a signed contract, we can get to work with them right away. Work would begin in 2019, could go into 2020 as well.
Okay. Last thing, is this a yearly contract, or what is it?
It's one time.
Okay. I'm at peace.
It's a plan for now.
Councilmember Preston?
Couple questions. Do you anticipate that this will start in time? Because a lot of these, obviously, categories you have here are some of the categories we'll be covering over the next few weeks within the community. Do you anticipate he'll be engaged and a part of that process as well?
Correct. They do plan, part of the plan is to engage the community, so it'll dovetail nicely with the community meetings that we're currently holding.
And I'm just curious, and I'm sure I'll learn as we kind of move forward, but do you know if he has, any experience or work with these concepts of trauma-informed and being restorative justice and this kind of work that we have seen happening within our community and wanting to incorporate more, and most specifically things like I see up here anti-bias training. That's something that we hear loud and clear from the community. There's policies, but then there's also our practice and like our people and how are we developing our intercultural competence.
I'm not sure of those details, but I'm happy to find out and get back to you.
Okay, thank you.
Please, go ahead.
Okay. I'm sorry, and another thought is, based off what Councilwoman Williams' question just triggered my thoughts. In terms of 21CP, is there any kind of brochure, resume, background that you can provide, that you may have already provided to us? I didn't say, but, I'm
We can provide that information. Chuck Ramsey is a nationally known expert in this area. He served in the Obama administration in their 21st century policing, but I'm happy to get that information.
Yeah, just send that to us and put that on file.
Thank you. Any other questions? No? Okay, we'll go to the public. Anyone here to speak in favor of this proposal? Anyone in opposition? And we'll go back to the council.
Make a motion, send 2519 to the full council.
Second. Motion made and seconded to send 2519 to the council with a favorable recommendation. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, goes to council favorably. That being the last item on the agenda.
Rise and resolve for the committee of the whole.
Second. Motion made and seconded to rise and resolve to the committee of the whole, to go back to full council, whatever. So, all in favor, saying aye.
Aye.
Okay, so done. Pass the gavel.
Thank you. Full council's now back in session. This is third reading. Ms. Kaufman, would you please read 2519?
2519, third reading on an ordinance of the Common Council of the City of South Bend, Indiana, appropriating additional funds for certain departmental and city services operations in 2019 of $180,070 from General Fund 101.
Move for the passage of Bill 25-19.
Second.
Ms. Kaufman, roll call, please.
Councilmember Preston.
Aye.
Councilmember McBride.
Aye.
Councilmember Roden.
Aye.
Councilmember Teschka.
Aye.
Councilmember Davis.
Aye.
Councilmember Vorty.
Aye.
Councilmember Froelich.
Aye.
Vice President White.
Aye.
President Scott.
Aye.
9 ayes.
Thank you. At this time, we have no resolutions. We will move to first readings. Ms. Kaufman, would you please read 2619?
2619, first reading on an ordinance of the Common Council of the City of South Bend, Indiana, amending Section 916 of Chapter 9, Article 3 of the South Bend Municipal Code to address ambulance medical service fees.
Mr. President, I move that this be sent to the Personnel and Finance Committee and set for second reading and public hearing on August 26th.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Thank you. Ms. Kaufman, would you please read 2719?
2719, first reading on an ordinance of the Common Council of the City of South Bend, Indiana, amending Chapter 2, Article 1 of the South Bend Municipal Code by the inclusion of new Division 1 entitled Youth Advisory Council.
I move that this be sent to the Residential Neighborhood Committee for their second reading and public hearing on 8/26.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Thank you. Move to unfinished business. Ms. I just need a motion for 1950.
I move that 1950 be sent to the Area Plan Commission for their meeting on 8/14, and then to our Zoning and Annexation Committee for the second reading and public hearing on 8/26.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Thank you. Is there any new business from this council? Mr. Davis.
Yes, I would just like to thank you, President Scott, and the council for authorizing me to go to a political boot camp in Washington, D.C. It was nice to meet with different other city leaders, state leaders, and federal leaders, and how we can get our message out in today's world. And so they gave us a lot of different suggestions. So I really appreciated my time there and trying to get more social workers involved. And so I'm glad to see people of my profession to really get more into the community, and that's what we've been talking about, getting to the neighborhoods. That's where the action is. So I'm glad to see that we are really working on that. So
And thank you, Dr. Davis. I appreciated your emails during that and updating me on what was going on there. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other new business? Ms. Broden?
Yes, thank you. Health and Public Safety Committee meeting, we will be putting out a public notice on this for August 19th. And the two topics on the agenda will be a homelessness update and also just permanent supportive housing in general. And then I've also requested that the two individuals from our county health department come and present on the high infant mortality rate for our county and to provide some insights into that.
What time is it?
The meeting time, Ms. Kaufman, do you remember? 6 p.m., yes, thank you, 6 to 8 p.m.
Question for Ms. Brody?
Yes.
Will that also include the weather amnesty issues that we have? That's what you're talking about?
Yeah.
Thank you for doing that, because I know we were a little behind on that, and so we won't be caught in the cold times, and so I really appreciate you doing that. Thank you. Thank you.
Welcome.
Anything else under new business?
I'd like to make, I don't know, Councilwoman Broughton, you have another announcement?
Just an announcement about the meetings, and there's one scheduled for Wednesday, correct, on the public safety topics?
Thursday.
Or Thursday, I'm sorry. If somebody could pull
This
that.
Thursday?
Yes. Yeah, Charles Black.
Yeah, that's,
Oh, wow.
coming from administration.
Go ahead, Councilmember
Okay,
White, if you
we'd
would
like to make mention that on August the 22nd, the second residential neighborhoods meeting, town hall meeting will be held at Harrison Primary School. The focus will be to have discussions and feedback from residents from the 6th district and portions of the 3rd. It will be held again on August 22nd from 5:30 to 7:30. The first one that we held was on July 29th and was well attended. We are looking at all the notes so that we can come up with the commonalities in which our citizens are sharing concerns that they have, and also areas in which they would want us, not only from the administrative level, but also from the council level, to look at as we move forward. So, again, I invite all the council members and just want to make sure that the public is aware of that meeting.
Thank you.
Do you
Dr.
have,
Davis?
do you have a flyer or anything for that?
I'll have it tomorrow.
Okay, cool. I'll forward it out to everybody.
Oh, yes, how could I forget? On Wednesday is the budget meeting. This is the 3rd hearing, and we'll be receiving information from Vineyards Parks in terms of looking at the 2020 budget. It's open to the public, and I'm encouraging the public to please come and to be part of the budget hearings, answering questions, but also to get a sense in regards to where your dollars are being advocated to, as well as looking at those areas in which we know are important to ensure that our community and our citizens have the very best possible services that we can deliver. So that's Wednesday at 5:30 here in the chambers.
Yeah, just to clarify, I've got these, the public safety, the community advisory group meetings pulled up. This Thursday, the 15th, is the next meeting, 6 to 8 p.m., Charles Black. Then August 20th, that's on the body camera policy. August 20th, use of force policy. It's also at Charles Black, same time. 27th is the vehicle pursuit policy at Martin Luther King Jr. Center. And then back to Charles Black on September 5th for training review. Back to Martin Luther King Jr. on September 12th for recruiting review, and then recap on September 19th at Charles Black.
Okay, thank you.
One quick question on that.
Dr. Davis.
I saw a note that said, and it's not, why were all the public safety meetings on the west side instead of any of them being on the east side at some of the parks there? And I didn't know how to respond to that question. Somebody sent that out, but I didn't know.
That would be for the mayor's office.
Okay. But I just thought that, I know it's probably too late now, but yes, I recognize what some of the areas that we have more violence in, but at the same time, it doesn't just happen to the residents there. It's a citywide. And the statement was that if you have only those on the Charles Black and at the M.L. King, it kind of gives a connotation that crime is only happening with certain groups of people in certain sections. And so to have had it at our centers throughout East Side, West Side, predominantly Black, Toronto, Hispanic, White, whatever, it would have been a better perception. So I didn't know what to do.
Appreciate that. I would direct that to the mayor's office.
If I could just extend, just for clarification purposes, these meetings are open to anyone in the public to participate in, and highly encourage you to take part. The policies themselves are available online for your review prior to attending the meeting, and there'll be opportunities in small circle settings to actually comment, work through it and evaluate at a group level, small group level. Individuals are leading it, and then the Board of Public Safety members are the hosts for the meeting. So the outcomes, if you will, the recommendations relative to these policies, and thank you, Councilmember Teshka, for supplementing my lack of having my document in front of me. But the outcomes from these meetings will go directly as recommendations to the Board of Public Safety. So if you have interest in these issues, please step forward. No reservation is needed, I think, save for the last meeting where there is a meal that will be provided. But I just really want to emphasize the invitation to participate and frankly, the duty to participate. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Any other new business? Seeing none, we'll move to the privilege of the floor. Privilege of the floor is where individuals who wish to address the council must state their name and residential address. Individuals are limited to 3 minutes only. The maximum time limit for this portion of the meeting shall be 30 minutes. Individuals may address only issues which the city has jurisdiction. Individuals shall not be permitted to address any topic which the council has previously heard on the agenda. So nothing that was on tonight. The council president may assign topics raised by the individuals during the privilege of the floor to appropriate council members and request the city clerk to contact members of the city administration to review and comment on any topics assigned. With that, we have a veteran at the podium, Mr. Sam Brown. If you state your name and address and go ahead.
Samuel Brown, 222 Eastern Broad Street in the city of South Bend. First of all, I would like to give you an update on my ongoing fight with my drug house at 229 Sadie Street and 221 Sadie Street. Law enforcement, City of South Bend Police Department, the state troop, the state police, and I hope I ain't left no one out. But I want to thank Mr. Carter, Ken Carter, Mr. Newton, and there's more people who's involved in that, hitting that drug house. 10 years I came and lobbied about that drug house. But the good thing about it, though, it's a good thing about it. I find out some more information I'm not privileged to talk about right now. We're on a community tour in the 2nd District, trying to make things better in the city. This young man came out and did a drug deal right in front of our council. It was on that bus that day. I've been threatened already. I told him that my daughter Jasmine and her family had nothing to do with it. If anybody should get killed or hurt, it got to be me. But I'm not worrying about that. If you see something, you got to say something. I've been seeing it for 10 years. The guy at 221, I went to him and I asked him, please, don't do it. As soon as I turned my back, the next day, he didn't see me, but I was taking pictures. He was back at work. That's good. No problem. It's coming. You know it's coming. I want to thank the city of South Bend for paving that street. I've been in that neighborhood close to 70 years, and that street has never been paved. I want to thank the city of South Bend once again for putting the lights up for about the 6th time that the drug boys are knocked down, so our neighborhood can have lights on it. I know the city's tired of doing it, but I appreciate what they've done, so we have lighting. But through it all, if we continue to sit and not say nothing and keep quiet, these thugs are going to take our city. We just had another shooting. My wife called me. She said, "Where's my grandson?" I said, "Get ready to come to State Street." She said, direct him on how to get home safe. Take him through the downtown area because the Lincolnwood Court is being shot up. Before I leave, and I'll make it quick, Mrs. White have made a suggestion that we need to get a task force separate from the police out here on these shootings. And I'm support with her. I hope the council will do what she needs done. I'm supporting that. We need to get the funds to put that special task force for hitting these little thugs and shooting our city up. Thanks for my comment.
Thank you, Mr. Brown. And I'll remind you, you have 3 minutes. Gavin Furlick's keeping time, and he'll give you about a 30-second exit warning.
Assistant, sir. I got you, Rod. 1 second.
So, go ahead, Mr. Goodchild.
I'm giving you a treasure map. It's something special from my father and my sister. I just came from the armory. She was there some 20 years. I got the opportunity to talk to Mr. Perry, and I said,
Mr. Goodchild, I need your address.
837 South 24th Street, South Bend, Indiana, 46615.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And anyways, it's been a project that we started back in 1959 when I went to Disneyland in L.A. with my father for a month from NIPSCO, from a Menominee Indian reservation, that we saw these magical trees. And they were Mickey Mouse and Donald Duck, the 7 dwarfs with Snow White, and I said, there's nothing like it. And you grow up and you're inspired, and something that changes you at 9 years old. You see your grandmother at 1955, and I'm 5 years old, and she's 100 years old. You see a little hut, and doesn't even have but a 1 room, and outhouse, and a pump that you can put a beautiful white bowl in. That's the kind of environment my father came from. That's what he grew up in. When I talk about 3rd grade, it's 3 older brothers, him being the one that goes on from 4th and the 5th to 8 miles in the snow. And it was a journey. We started it out in 2012, and we had people, and these people are like Aaron Perry with his energy that came around. Matt Moyer said, I worked with your sister. She's an angel. Of course we're going to get those stones in. You can make sure that she's smiling with your father up there. And John Martinez, every day he was there and he was saying, my goodness, Goodchild, we'll find a place for your father's stone. Would you like it in front of the pavilion? I says, I never thought you'd do that. Absolutely. And Mayor Pete says, you know what? How much is this going to cost me? I don't have a penny in my budget for it. I said, not a cent. My father took care of everything. He says, then get it done. And first thing, Mr. Perry said, is it done? And I said, yeah, we got the stones in with all those beautiful white rocks around it. He says, I'm so proud. I'm so glad that you got 14 done. When we had to walk this last time, we had the people, Orlando, Parrott, and others from Seattle and everywhere else. Says, there's nothing like it in the Midwest like this. You should be so proud that we have this unique 20 to 40-foot totem poles, a 12.5-mile circle, and you got a treasure here that there's nothing. We see 1 or 2
time is up
in Seattle. And I thank you all.
Thank
John
you, Mr. Goodchild,
for your guidance, and Val for her first support, and your Dr. Furlick and Mr. Varner, Dr. Varner, who gave us that first ones with their support.
Thank you, Doc. Thank you, Rod.
Thank you.
Next, name and address, sir.
I'm going to turn over the mic. My name is Rodney Gadsden. I'm a West Side resident of South Bend, Indiana, at 734 South Clearview Place, South Bend, Indiana, 46619.
Thank you, sir.
The first person I'm going to talk about and turn over, as I have envelopes for all the council members.
Thank you.
Roberta Hudson Stroud at 218 South 29th Street, South Bend, Indiana, 46615. She is a senior. Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King had two things that he was very passionate about, and that was one of transportation for equality of all people, and the other one was housing. I'll be addressing the housing one. I'm going to bring Ms. Roberta up here right now to go ahead and talk about her transportation issue.
Good evening, everybody. I'm going to just read a little of this because I only have 3 minutes. And,
Ms., for your record, name and address.
218 South 29th Street, South Bend, Indiana, 46615.
Okay, thank you.
Roberta Strawn, Strachan. Okay, I'll just highlight this because you have the package now that I put together. And before I go any farther with these, I have made a paper trail regarding transport service and access service to Indiana Legal Services, to the council there, and to Amy Hill. And I want to let you know that Mrs. Preston and Mr. Teshka have helped me with my transport and access issues more than once. But I'm only one person. What about the hundreds and hundreds, of passengers? They don't have anyone to speak for them. And that's why I'm asking you to please help us. We need a lot of help. We don't have any help. And I'm going to give you an example of how powerful Transpo is. And we can't say a thing about it. Here's an example. A few years ago, and I got these figures through Transpo from Jamie. Her name is Jamie. A few years ago, they put up 900 bus stops in grassy areas. And I think the person who put them up must live in Miami all year round, because these grassy areas became ugly snowbanks. Now, when 900 bus signs were put up, 20 shelters, that's it, 20 shelters. You see, that's what I'm saying. Nobody is speaking up for us. And so I have listed altogether 7 very punitive issues, very harsh issues that Transpo just wheels them out there, and who can stop Transpo? The passengers can't, because if we could, these issues that I have here wouldn't even be issues. They would have been resolved. So what I'm saying is I'm giving you these packets because I've talked through them with the people I've mentioned already, and I want to know, this is my request, and it may be outlandish, who cares? The transport service is better than nothing. That's all that it is. Can't you help us? Do you have an attorney that would help us? Are you going to continue to let transport do whatever they want to us? We're just pawns in their hands. You have 30 seconds. And I call us, we're transport sharecroppers. That's what we are, because we don't have a voice. And I sent in this is what I gave to you, the presentation here. I sent it to the Voice of People today in the Tribune, and I called it sharecroppers, so you know it's never going to get printed. I don't care. You have what I have sent out, and we need a lot of help. Thanks.
Thank you.
Again, I'll repeat myself. That's not a problem. For the record, my name is Rodney Gadsden. Again, I'm 934 South Clearview Place in South Bend, Indiana, 46619. I'm representing, actually, the Western Manor residents. The purpose of us coming here is they have a new company taking over Western Manor. The problem is, which I have noted here, but I need these returned back, we look at the contracts. The problem is, all we want right now is equality and fairness for all people, all genders, all races. That's what we want. Right now, we don't even have reasonable time, and they're increasing the rent over 40%, which leaving someone anywhere to paying from $200 to $900 depending on the utilities. The level of rent Also, we have different levels of housing, Section 8, income level base, and etc. When people pay straight rent. Now, here's the problem to that. They need time to move these people if they don't have the opportunity to pay said rent, or the contracts being honored for Section 8 and housing. The other thing that is happening with this, some of the complaints that I already have with me, which are 9 of them, and there are a dozen more to come for code enforcement infractions.
You have 30 seconds.
The code enforcement isn't done. Premier Estate Management. Problem being is with them is they didn't even properly identify themselves as a company, a contractual. So the tenants need a time to adapt. We're not asking them to not do business. We're just asking them to do business in a fair, legal manner, in which the tenants, we need help. We have reached out to our councilmen, but now we are also reaching out to you in all fairness.
And your time is up.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, he'll,
Make a copy.
Grant Sparks will make copies and bring back originals to you. And we'll have it for our record. What's that?
Can I have the code enforcement in place?
Yes.
Yes.
There will be more of them, but for right now, I got those right here.
Thank you.
Okay, hi, I'm Summer Melville. I live at 4406 West Western Avenue, apartment A2. So I'm here today to tell you guys that all these people, we're like a community. I mean, I guess all people in poverty are kind of have a bond. We live with each other every day, and I have to see these people. I don't have to move out yet. My lease is not up until March, so I have a little bit more time, which I didn't know that. And at first I was really scared because me and my kids were going to be homeless. And 30 days is just not enough time. I moved around from school to school. I have nobody to help me. I don't have any friends because I moved to 3 different schools. I don't have any friends. I have a disabled mom. That's it. She has a car, but it runs here and there. She's not going to help me. I have 2 little babies that just got out of diapers, just got into Head Start. It's for a mom with 2 babies, you're kind of like stuck. And I don't think anybody really realizes, without a car, we're nobody, there's no transportation, and the people are the same way. They have no resources, a lot of them. They can't just get a U-Haul. They can't afford it, and paying that rent, they can't even save up for their deposit. These people are on fixed incomes. There's nothing, and all of them are going to be kicked out together trying to look for a house. It's going to be impossible. How is 100 people going to be looking for a house all at the same time, all wanting a budget? There's not going to be one. There's not going to be a budget for us, and I feel like I'm obligated because I feel like I'll be helped before the elderly and before the other people. With my kids, we will eventually find something then, but I'll be helped before they're helped. So that's how I feel. So I'm speaking out because they need help, and I don't know how we're going to help them, but they need more time, and they need a lawyer to talk to, because I know that it's not just 30 days you have when they tell you 30 days. It's 60 days, but I don't know if that means that they're liable for that rent or not. So I can't even advise them well. And I think a lot of us are just stuck with our heads in the clouds. We don't really know what to do. We need help. There's elderly people. There's one girl, she lived there for 10 years, and she lives upstairs, and she's always paid her rent. They don't want to renew her contract, and she has nowhere to take her stuff. She's like, what are we going to do? I said, I'll help you walk wherever we have to walk. Whatever we have to do, we'll have to do. But it's just a little ridiculous. And if these landlords, there's nothing that I can find with all utilities included except for Western Manor. It was a blessing for me because with 2 kids, that's what I have to get. I'm on housing, and I'm trying to better myself. I got off welfare. I only used it for a little while. I want to do more with my life, and I'm not going to be able to do more with my life if there's not decent housing, decent prices, decent. We need help. There's no transportation services for me. Nothing. I'm stuck pushing a grocery cart, from Kroger's to my house with my kids, and it's just ridiculous anymore. There needs to be some help so I can get on my feet. And there isn't, and these people can't be stranded there like that. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Next, sir, name and address.
name Alfonso Mack, address 111 Cherry Street, and try to make this under 3 minutes. I'm coming about something that's going to be coming to the table. It's for the permanent supportive housing on West Washington Street. And I'm just coming to let you guys know about my opposition to it. I live in this neighborhood. It's not like I work there, I actually live there. And this location is actually going to be physically in my backyard. And no one in the neighborhood has been brought into a room and asked our opinion about it. This thing is moving fast and is moving around us, but not with us. And as taxpayers, homeowners, we need to be involved in this process. There are plenty of neighborhoods that can withstand this project, but ours just happens not to be one. We have been looking for support from the city, from investors, from anything for years. We have bad suspensions because of our roads. We have an East-Scan building down the street that's full of rodents, that's full of homeless people already there, that's full of asbestos, that's full of mold, and it just sits there unattended. We have curbs and sidewalks that we can't walk down. Our kids can't come out at night because we don't have street lights. I actually, which is kind of ironic, I pay $10 a month for a light pole to be in our backyard that actually shines on this vacant lot that they're proposing to put this building into. So the question is, how can they come with the big, beautiful building for the homeless but haven't taken care of the homeowners? And I don't want to sound negative against, homeless people, because they do need attention and we should support them. But at this point in time, our neighborhood needs support. We can't withstand any more in our neighborhood, let alone come to see some beautiful building or a ton of money being dumped into something, and we've been asking for years just for a little pavement. We've been asking for years to get this lot cleaned up adjacent to where this proposal is that homeless people already live at, ramshack through. Like I say, no sidewalk, no curbs, that are really obtainable for the children to play in. And now we want to make improvements around us, but not including us in any type of process. Right. I own a couple of businesses here in town. I've chosen to stay in South Bend as a resident, as a homeowner, as a businessman. I chose to stay here to help my community, to help the young youth around here. And I'm asking for help to do something for my neighborhood before we start adding to it. And that's all I'm here to say. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next, name and address.
My name is David Buggs, B-U-G-G-S. I live at 1042 Western Avenue, South Bend. And I know the majority of you here. My question would be, has everyone read the paper that I give you? So that helps me to bypass a lot of my introduction. So I'm happy to be, I think, the last one here, because I had the opportunity to hear all of the societal ills that have been presented to you today. I'm also, I have to give respect to all of you, have a very difficult job. But I'm here to try to make it easier. I'm a lifelong 2nd District resident. Okay? I lived in South Bend all my life. Only left for 7.5 years of military service. Came back. For the last 22 years, I've been serving the community in several capacities. I've been singing in every Martin Luther King event, going to every event for the last 22 years. And we've been talking about the same issues for the last 22 years that have not been resolved here today. If you ran a business that way, your business will fail. You have to have accountability. Each year you start something, we drop it the next year because of the lack of accountability. The entity that we started is called Cultivating Life. I tried to do something uniquely different. If you go down Western Avenue, and many of you have asked if you've gone down Western Avenue to see this huge place, you say no, because you don't drive down that street. Nobody drives down that street, and there's not been any investment in that area, nor have there been any investment in the residents, the children, the elderly. So, having means, having the opportunity still living on the west side of town, going to Notre Dame, enjoying Eddy Street Commons, but going to Jefferson Street where I lived and seeing total dilapidation. There is no excuse for that. And we cannot be a society of people if we don't address the needs of the less fortunate. And we have not done that. So I invested 50 grand in an area, put up a tent. I'm going to bring it to the people. We're going to create literacy. I want you all to help me. There should be some reciprocity for the 22 years of things that I've done for this city for free. I would like the council to help me to better the area in the 2nd District and the people there. So I will be back for the Budget Committee, see what the budget plan is and what we can do to help. I can tell you why the meetings are on the west side of town for violence, because in the 4th District, there should be meetings about financial literacy, because that's where all the wealth is. The young lady just talked about you can't get transportation down to the store, then you need to provide transportation to the 4th District so they can hear how we can develop wealth from the wealthiest people in the area.
Bugs.
Since you don't have it, I'm going to bring it there to teach them if I have to do it under a tent.
Thank you, Mr. Bugs.
Okay? Thank you.
Your time is up. Thank you. We have your flyer, too.
Thank you.
Next, name and address.
Sharon Panicki, 3822 Ford Street. Long time no see, but I was baby-free tonight. Just wanted to let you know that me and the little one went to the June and July First Fridays. June was a blast. They had it very well organized. His favorite part was the bus. Sorry, guys. July, not so much, but it rained that day, so that was to be expected. It was kind of hit or miss and didn't seem to be even as organized, but that's okay. Quickly, the bricks on Western, where they've done them for the new road, they've all got weeds growing up through them. So I don't know if that's something that the Western Avenue people can throw a weed killer on, but there is not one section that doesn't have weeds growing up through them. Since it is budget time and everybody's coming here and telling you what wonderful jobs they're doing in their department, let me be the first to reiterate the IT department needs to fix that website. It has got to be the most god-awful website I have ever seen or worked on. You can't go anywhere or do anything on it. And so when they sit there and tell you how wonderful they are, let me tell you, the citizens of the city think it stinks. And on my last note, I know everybody's been dogging the police officers lately, but I happened to be out shopping Friday on the south side at Joann's, and I don't know what happened, don't know what was going on, but I saw a police officer pull up to another car, and he got out, started talking to the gentleman, and his first words out of his mouth were, "I am so sorry for the delay, we've been extremely busy. I'm here to help you." And I wish I had gotten the officer's car number. I didn't stick around to see what the problem was, but you know, there are still police officers out there that do care and are doing the job, and they want to be, you know, acknowledged for it. So, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Next. Name and address.
Oh, sorry. Okay. Hi, my name is Shakara Lloyd. My address is 4419 Southview Lane, apartment A1. I'm one of the Western Manor residents. Can you guys hear me on this thing?
Miss, the little black square thing at the top, that's the microphone. The other one's for the media. Yep.
That's okay.
That's media.
Oh, okay. Did you hear? Do I need to repeat?
That's better.
We got you. Okay. Okay. And I'm not feeling too well, so please excuse me, but I'm just going to try to make this really quick. So I'm one of the residents at Western Manor. Sorry, I'm just not feeling very well right now, but I do really want to get you guys aware of the general issue that's happening with the Western Manor apartments. As we all know, it's a low-income area on the west side of town, particularly Western Manor apartments. I think we do need to, I think this issue does need some attention because even those who are in poverty, they have to have some sort of housing. I'm sure you guys are aware of what's going on with the rental increases at the Western Manor apartments. A new company has decided to buy Western Manor from, which is Premier, that's the new company, they bought that one, they bought it from Center Management. So they came in and they didn't have any paperwork notarized. They just stuck notices on our door telling us that they're the new owners and that we have 30 days, it was about 38 days to pay about a $300 rent increase. Many people, I think it's unfortunate that so many people may have to go homeless all at once. Maybe, I mean, if it's not just one or two families, there's 102 units. And so I just think that, I think if the city could help us put some heat on a company like this, I know that the city doesn't have many resources, financial resources, but if we could at least get the media attention on this company to let them know that we don't need these type of patterns coming into our city, because if this happens to one community, what's to stop another huge corporate with they have a lot of monetary backing. What's to stop not another, more and more may come in and decide to do this to other communities in South Bend. Sorry, I know I'm kind of rambling right now, but I'm just saying, I just really would like for the media, some media attention, and just to maybe put a little bit of heat on this company, just to let them know that we can't handle, I don't think South Bend can handle this type of pressure. I think the downtown has already been looking a little bit deteriorated.
30 seconds.
Okay. I just don't want our town to start looking like Chicago. Chicago, there's so many homeless people around, it's unfortunate to walk the city streets, and I don't want to see South Bend with just a homeless. I mean, the homeless are going to go right downtown to the Cubs Stadium. They're going to be downtown. They're going to be here if there's more homeless. So we just need to let companies know like this. They need to negotiate with us. They need to give us more time. They've given us no time, only 30 days. We need at least 3 to 6 months to put people in proper housing. We just need to negotiate with this company.
Thank you. All set. Next, name and address.
Hi, my name is Cassandra Reyes, 1217 College Street, South Bend, Indiana. I actually wasn't planning on speaking today, but I'd like to thank my fellow residents for actually making me feel much more welcome to come and speak. I would like to bring up, so I know this happened a long time ago. I'm quite young, so I didn't necessarily have a voice for myself until now. But I was pretty upset about how the trash cans were asked to be moved from the alleyways into the streets. We have street parking. Most of us do not have garage parking. So the streets become very narrow. They're two-way streets. We have kids that play in the middle of the street, and they're dodging in between cars. You can't see them when you're going down the street at all. It creates a big issue, not only for those children, but the cars as well. On my street, personally, we've had so many car crashes right on that corner. I don't know if there's any monitoring going around with the speeds that people are going. I constantly see stop signs blown, but I just don't see any attention on that. I'd also like to point out Wilbur Street, just a few blocks down from mine. That is a one-way, you can only park on one side of the street because it is so narrow. But when trash day comes, trash has to come and be put out. That whole street is lined up with cars, and it becomes very narrow. People try to pass because it is a two-way street, and it's an entire block. So it becomes very dangerous. So I know this is an issue that was discussed a long time ago, but yes, I'd like to bring it back to light. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Anyone else?
I just have one thing before it goes up.
All right.
You heard the concerns regarding people from Western Manor. We're working on, and I'll send you an email either for tomorrow night. I'm meeting with the residents, I know, at 5 o'clock on Wednesday, but we're trying to get something with some of the, Judy Fox and some of the attorneys.
Okay.
So you'll see an email between tonight and early in the morning somewhere, so just check the emails.
Okay. All right, thank you. Entertain motion to adjourn.
Did I get a comment? I mean, usually we don't do comments after.
No, we don't, but go ahead.
I just wanted to thank Reverend Dr. Buggs for coming, and I just want to encourage everybody to attend the event that he has laid out. This folds right into the work that we've been trying to do around doing a more trauma-informed, more restorative city, and I just really want to thank him for his investment in bringing this to life, and we've really been looking for a way to bring together So this could be the start of that. So just underscoring his invitation and encouraging everybody to attend.
Okay, thank you.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Good night, everybody.
I'll be there. It's got to cost my church. Keep her
That's up there, man.
Yeah.
Huh? I didn't You don't necessarily have jurisdiction over some of that. Sometimes you just want to make it. I told him, I said, I'm going to take a beauty so I can see what I legal thing.